On a cold January morning in 1308, 7-year-old Princess Isabella of France shivered as her ceremonial gown was adjusted. Daughter of King Philip IV, she wept silently, knowing her imminent marriage to England's Edward II, a man nearly 30 years her senior. This was a political union, sealing a truce between France and England over contested lands. Barely a child, Isabella was a diplomatic pawn. At the lavish wedding, Edward openly ignored his young bride, focusing on his favorite, Piers Gaveston, his rumored lover. Humiliated, Isabella spent her early years in England isolated and neglected, as Edward lavished gifts and attention on Gaveston, further alienating the young queen. In 1312, nobles rebelled, capturing and executing Gaveston. Edward's intense mourning further distanced him from Isabella. Instead of turning to his wife, Edward found a new favorite in Hugh Dispenser the Younger, who proved manipulative, accumulating power and wealth. Older now, Isabella understood her role: produce heirs and remain quiet. In 1316, she bore Edward a son, the future Edward III, followed by 3 more children. Despite this, her treatment worsened. The Dispensers stripped her of lands, income, and dignity. Her household staff was dismissed, forcing her to beg for resources. This humiliation ignited Isabella's resolve for survival and revenge. Opportunity came in 1325. Tensions with France required diplomatic intervention, and Isabella volunteered to negotiate with her brother, King Charles IV. Once in Paris, she refused to return to England, effectively declaring rebellion. She allied with Roger Mortimer, an English exile and fierce opponent of Edward and Dispenser. Their alliance blossomed into romance and a joint mission for vengeance. Edward demanded Isabella's return, using their son, young Edward, as leverage. Isabella cleverly arranged for her son to be named Duke of Aquitaine, allowing him to join her legitimately in France. Reunited, she and Mortimer planned their invasion. In September 1326, Isabella returned to England leading an army. The people, tired of Edward's misrule and Dispenser's corruption, hailed her as a liberator. Nobles and towns rallied to her cause, forcing Edward and Dispenser into flight. They were soon captured. Dispenser faced brutal execution, dragged through streets, hanged, castrated, disemboweled, and beheaded, a gruesome warning from Isabella. Edward II was forced to abdicate in favor of their son, becoming Edward III. Initially confined comfortably, Edward II was moved to Berkeley Castle after rescue attempts. His death in September 1327 became one of history's darkest episodes. Reports claim assassins, likely on Mortimer's orders with Isabella's complicity, murdered Edward gruesomely, inserting a red-hot poker internally to mask external signs of violence. His agonized screams reportedly echoed through the castle. With Edward II dead, Isabella and Mortimer ruled as regents, openly flaunting their relationship and accumulating vast wealth. Mortimer, now Earl of March, ruled ruthlessly, alienating allies. Young Edward III resented their dominance and his father's humiliating fate. In 1330, teenage Edward III acted decisively. Using secret passages in Nottingham Castle, he and allies arrested Mortimer, ignoring Isabella's pleas. Mortimer was swiftly executed as a traitor. Surprisingly, Edward III spared his mother. Isabella, stripped of power, lived in secluded comfort at Castle Rising. Her last 28 years were quiet but troubled, reportedly haunted by guilt over Edward II's horrific death. She spent her days in penitence, charity, and prayer. Isabella died peacefully in August 1358, age 67. She was buried humbly, dressed as a Franciscan nun, Edward II's heart in a locket on her chest. A final act of remorse or symbolic reconciliation. Servants recounted her speaking to invisible presences, begging forgiveness. Despite chroniclers' harsh judgments of Isabella as an immoral, cruel queen, modern views see a woman trapped by brutal circumstances. Forced into child marriage, publicly humiliated by her husband's disregard, and politically oppressed, Isabella's rebellion was a desperate fight for survival. Her relationship with Mortimer, though scandalous, provided affection and respect she never received from Edward. Her role in Edward II's death, whether driven by vengeance or necessity, marked her as the she-wolf. Historians debate her motives, but Isabella undeniably reshaped her fate. Once a vulnerable princess, she became a fearsome ruler, rewriting power rules in a male-dominated society. Though her reign ended in solitude and penitence, her strength remains remarkable. Visitors to Castle Rising claim her presence lingers. Guards report a spectral woman gazing towards London, contemplating past power. Isabella's story warns of power's corrupting influence, the cost of revenge, and society's role in shaping its monsters. Isabella was not born cruel. She was forged by cruelty. Her transformation from innocent princess to vengeful queen reveals harsh truths about medieval power, ambition, and survival. Her legacy is complex. A tragic figure, ruthless leader, repentant sinner, a queen reflecting the human struggle between vulnerability and vengeance.